Well, first of all, I want to thank you for giving up for those of us that are U.S. citizens, giving up part of your Memorial Day weekend to be here to talk about this stuff. And I want to welcome our Canadian friends for being here. This is the second session that I've run of this, and I learned a lot in the first one. So you guys are going to be the victim of my improved knowledge, and we'll go from there. This is designed to be a workshop, so you can be unmuted during this. And if I say something that you don't understand, or if I say something you disagree with, just pipe up and let me know. It is I feel the only way that we can learn is by one another. Also, I sent out a roster to all of you. And the reason for the roster is so that you have others that you can go to and say, what's working for your chapter? What's working for my chapter? This is what we're doing. And just basically is trying to start some conversation between the chapters, because I think in a lot of cases, chapters feel that they're isolated. Chapters feel that they're doing this on their own. And a lot of times chapters don't feel like they have a whole lot of support. So I'm trying to create some kind of support mechanism, particularly on how to market it. Previously, I held 2 meetings, and I was all prepared in those first 2 meetings to talk about marketing for audience and talk about marketing for visibility within the community and talking about ideas that way. And it turned out that both conversations at both meetings turned to retaining, regaining, and recruiting members. And so I thought about it. Now, for those of you that were here at those meetings, we talked a lot about the marketing page and what I'm attempting to do with the marketing page. But what I would like to do is give you an idea of what's going on with marketing. And I'm going to try and share my screen and let you take a look at what's going on with the marketing page on evgdistrict.com, which is a new website. Basically, you've got a nice picture of me when I was younger and looked better, and I never looked good. But that's a little video introduction to me. This is a complete chapter marketing video. And if you view that, it's 6 minutes long, if you view that, I encourage you to go down to the toolbox and select the market planning worksheet, because all the questions I ask in that video are actually on that worksheet. And I would say, don't view this without grabbing this. And I don't know how many people have lost because of this going up and down. Each month, there is topics that I talk about. Some of them have several articles attached. And there'll be a new one for June coming up, and the toolbox is going to move down a slot. But there's January, February, March, and these are just all my thoughts out of my experience. The M&M working together came specifically because of the 2 previous meetings. It's called Membership and Marketing. It's in a flip book. It is also in a PDF file if you want to download it. But people were saying we need a step-by-step activity. And so within this flip book, there's a few pages of steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 to help you with marketing for, and I gotta go back, to help you with marketing for your chapter. So I'm trying very hard to stay on top of it. One of the things that that I talk about, and my predecessor talked about, was a Keith Eckhart thing called Random Acts of Harmony. And it is really a great idea, because the basic idea that the basic idea is that our best form of marketing is singing barbershop in front of people and singing it well. So we're going to go around the Zoom room, and we just added Karen. Hello, Karen Caldwell. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very good. I'd like everybody to give me their name, how long they've been a barbershopper, and a little bit about their chapter specifically. And just in about 10, 15 seconds, we don't have a lot of time to do this, but I'm going to go around the room. Now, your picture may be in a different location than you are on my screen, so I will call you by name, and then I'd like you just to introduce yourself, tell me how long you've been a broadcaster, and a tiny bit about your chapter. And we'll start with Richard up on my screen on the left-hand corner.
I'm Richard Giles. I'm the chapter president of Oregon Mid-Coast chapter, Coastal Airs. I've been a barbershopper since almost 30 years. I can't remember the years. Almost 30 years. Not always officially. Our chapter is recently, as of 3 years ago, a mixed chorus, and we're having a lot of fun with that right now. That's all we got.
Okay, let's go to Ron.
Ron Adler, president of the Juan de Fuca chapter in Sequim, Washington. I joined as a barbershopper upon relocation to Sequim and retirement in August of 2018, and I'm still the newest member in my chapter. We're 10 strong. We're a core group that have survived COVID. We were even singing with singers masks. We're a tough bunch, and we need to grow now.
Good. Laura.
Yes, hi, I'm Laura Pennington, and I've been a barbershopper for 33 years. I was with Sweet Adelines for 33 years. And so I guess 34 years now, because I moved to Idaho from California about 4 years ago, and we just recently started Star Harmony Chorus, which is an all-female chorus in the district, and I think we're the only one. And we have about 130 years of barbershop experience between all of our charter members. So we're all ex-Sweet Adelines, and we decided to join the society. So we have about 14 members. We chartered in February, and we're excited to be here.
Terrific. Gregor.
Yes, well, Laura, guess what? In Calgary, there's a Pitch Please, and they're actually singing today. And unfortunately, I'm missing our Division 3 activities because we're having our first event today. And unfortunately, on Sunday, I wasn't feeling well, and I was diagnosed with COVID on Tuesday.
Oh, no.
So now I'm sitting here feeling okay, but not being able to sing. So that's sad.
Are they going to district, you know?
I think there's probably somebody will probably be going to district. I don't know if Pitch Please is going, but they're brand new. They just recently chartered with and combined with they're part of the Acapella Road kind of underneath their umbrella. I can't remember what the official name of it is. So, but Pitch Please is here in Calgary. So congratulations. It's nice to have different more than men. I've been singing for about 13 years. I sing lead with Stampede City Chorus as well as with brass quartet, and I've just been our chorus, Stampede City Chorus, is been a little bit decimated a bit by COVID and age, where we've now shrunk down to about 12 or 13 people since we've come back onto the risers. But many days it's down to even 8 because of different situations. So this is one of those situations where we call ourselves just a bunch of old guys singing together. And I'm by far the youngest, probably by about 7 years or more. And I'm 61.
Oh, you look so young.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody asked me if I was pushing 60, and I said, no, I'm pulling 70. So, and Karen Caldwell.
Hi, I direct the Federal Harmony Kings in Federal Washington, and I've been a barbershopper. Well, I started in 1972 as a high school girl in a girls quartet, but not with the Barbershop Harmony Society. But I did sing at some of their shows way back then with the OK4 and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, currently the Harmony Kings have, I've been the director since 2008. And we recently also, as the minute you could add women, we did. And I was thrilled about that since I had already been the director and an associate member for quite some time. And we average somewhere between 25 and 30 each Tuesday night in person. And we've been in person since September-ish. We did Zoom like everybody else for the entire COVID business. We added on a Thursday night in-person meeting at an outdoor parking lot, which I think saved our chorus because it was just fun. We just sang and it was outside, so it was safe. And we'd have sometimes 30 to 35 people, and we brought new members in by doing that. So that's us in a nutshell. And Greg used to be our president, and he gets some credit for our the health of our chorus, that's for sure.
Which brings it to me. I am a 41-year broadcaster, and at one point I was a disc jockey playing rock and roll music, singing in Columbia Chorale with doing handle, and from there became a barbershopper, which was a big jump from and started in the Tri-Cities of Washington, east side of the state, with Columbia River chordsmen. I left for work and ended up in the Seattle area, and I was living in Puyallup, commuting to Seattle, which I'll never do again. And I auditioned for and got into Rainier Valley Harmonizers. And I didn't know until 2 weeks before district if I was going to be allowed to be on the risers with them. Unfortunately, I was. I went to district. The chapter finished as the #1 for 8 years in a row, the #1 small chapter. As soon as we got off doing our singing, went off stage, and Ted came to me, or came to the choir and to the chorus and said, "I'm leaving." And the next rehearsal, out of 28 guys that went, 8 of us were there for the next rehearsal, and it was a rebuilding, and unfortunately it failed. And I held a position of membership of marketing, and I was an abject failure, or the chorus was, I don't know which. We, in the first year, we became Puyallup Valley Harmonizers. We had 47 visitors and no new members. So I began to realize there was some kind of disconnect there. When that folded, I ended up at Harmony Kings, where I have a lot of my experience comes from working with Harmony Kings. I was vice president of marketing for 3 years and president for 3 years, on the board for 6. And I'm currently singing with Tacoma Vocal Standard for a lot of reasons, and none of it has anything to do with Karen. It was just, it was time for me to try something new. And, but I've had a passion for marketing. When I was 60 years old, I went to college for the first time and became an associate in business, which was a program which basically concentrates on marketing. So I have a real feeling for the chapters. I have a really real feeling for what you're going through. And I have a real feeling for the person that steps up and says, okay, I'll be the vice president of marketing. What do I do now? And there's a lot of that. So we had 2 meetings and we talked about that. And it turned out that most of the activity was about regaining, retaining, and recruiting new members. And so I wrote a piece specifically for that, which is that M&M piece that I showed you on the website. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to actually do an exercise. And we're going to talk about a concept that I think really, really propelled it. And Harmony Kings actually has demonstrated to me that the concept works, because I used it with them. I didn't tell them what I was doing, but I used it with them. And that's called features and benefits. It's part of defining your chapter and figuring out who you are. Now, I have a question for you, and you just have to raise your hand. How many, if you talk to 3 people individually about your chapter, how many do you think they would all say the same thing, or do you think that they would have a variation thereof? How many thinks that if you got 3 people together, they're all going to say the same thing about your chapter? That's good. A lot of chapters don't have that. So we're going to talk about one tiny feature of marketing, which is called features and benefits. It helps you define your chapter, and it helps you start creating a chapter vocabulary. And the sooner you have your people talking the same language and talking about the same thing, then stuff can happen and you get some momentum going. I'm not sure that you're going to be able to hear this. I want to show you a video. This is just a recap. For some of you, this will be new. For some of this, this is much shorter. The last 2 meetings, I ran a 6-minute video. This is about 1.5 minutes, which talks about the same stuff, just not in depth. But here's a brief look, and I hope you can hear this, a brief look at marketing in very simple fashions.
Gregor has a question and a comment in the chat.
Yes,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I didn't see that.
Yeah, sorry. I was just listening to your thing, and you asked the question, how many people could talk? And of course, I told us a bunch of old guys singing together. That's not that appealing. And I worked with Acapella Road on doing some rebranding, and it took probably about 2.5 years to overcome the inertia of, yeah, we probably should do something, but we're really doing okay right now. And I'm kind of happy with what we're doing. And that's, so to get people to think, okay, maybe a bunch of old guys singing together could be rephrased, or we could have a different dialogue. Yeah, we don't really need to worry about, we're doing good. So that's kind of that question that at some point would be interesting to answer, is that initial inertia question.
Okay, before I go to this, I will tell you a story, and Karen can verify this. I went to a regional leadership academy when I believe I was the last year of my vice president of marketing. But anyway, I went to this regional leadership academy, and they talked about the fact that we shouldn't call them sing-outs. We should call them performances. They're community performances. They're not a sing-out. That sounds like you're getting together to just gang sing. So make it a community performance. It took me 2.5 years to get other people on the board even saying it's a performance. The term sing out was just so hard to get rid of, which brings me to the biggest problem that I think that most leadership has, is 2 phrases that should be eradicated. They should just disappear. They don't. But the phrases are, we've always done it this way, and we've never done it that way. And it takes a long time to overcome that. When you have a disruption of a product, it takes about 3 years to regain your foothold. So think about it. Barbershop, for all intents and purposes, was out in 2020, was out in 2021. A big chunk of some performances are starting to happen, but a big chunk of this year has all disappeared. And the sooner we use this for planning and working with our members to expand our geographical footprint or our mental footprint or whatever, this is the time to be doing the planning. And so that inertia is built into every organization I've ever been in, and specifically in music. And I don't know how you overcome it other than getting 2 or 3 or 4 people that get together and say, we need to change our image within ourselves. Barbershoppers are notorious for standing in a circle and singing to themselves. And we don't have new members out there. They're not in our rehearsal space. We got to go out and find them somehow. We've got to invite them. We've got to make ourselves look like we're not a bunch of old people. Because think of the image that a lot of people still have of barbershop, and I cringe when I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. 4 drunks hanging on a lamppost singing Sweet Adeline Badly. One of the reasons the Barbershop Harmony Society rebranded itself is they wanted that harmony in there to try and get away from it. Some chapters have just literally said we're just a cappella and gotten away from barbershop, or they say we sing a cappella in the barbershop style. But that image is still there. And as long as we stay cloistered in our rehearsal space, I think we got an issue. It's just not going to get us anywhere. But I understand and I know how long it takes to change perception, and it does take a long time. Let's do a quick, and if you can't hear this, then I will shut this down. And by the way, this is a workshop, so you can interrupt as you want. But this is just a really brief introduction to marketing.
What is marketing? How would you explain marketing? The first few words that usually pop into a person's head are marketing equals sales. Marketing is not just personal selling or even just advertising. Most people define marketing in a very limited way. Marketing includes activities such as public relations, sales promotion, advertising, social media, pricing, distribution, and many other functions. Companies have increased their marketing budgets dramatically. For example, it is estimated that companies spend over $15 billion annually on marketing to just kids. This is an increase of over 2.5 times more than they were spending in 1992. The cumulative function of marketing is to communicate, deliver, and create value to the consumer. In addition, companies must take into consideration their employees, stakeholders, and society. The most successful companies engage in very consumer-oriented marketing. They spend enormous amounts of time, money, and resources examining the everyday lives of their customers, and then create products to fill a need. Examples of companies that are known for creative, leading-edge marketing are Disney, Pepsi, Apple, and Procter & Gamble. Marketing is made up of 4 elements: product, place, promotion, and price. The elements must be used in a cohesive plan to effectively target the consumer. A product can be either a physical product or a service. Place is where the product is purchased. Price is the amount a consumer pays for the product, and promotion consists of the communication tools used to effectively get the company's message out. The official definition of marketing is it is a philosophy that's main focus is providing customer satisfaction. Marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Also included in the definition are all of the activities that help businesses reach their target market effectively. The ultimate outcome for marketing is when a successful exchange occurs.
So last time we looked for 6 minutes and 58 seconds on how to do it, and they did it in about a minute and a half. So basically what I'm going to do is show you a PowerPoint, and hopefully the PowerPoint works better than it did last time, and show you the PowerPoint, and then it'll stop in the middle, and then I'm going to have you do a work exercise. So at this time, if you have the PowerPoint document that I sent for taking notes so you can keep track of it, that's good. Because I have a tendency of wandering, and if you can't tell, I have a bit of passion for this, I have done a narration on it to prevent me from wandering off into the weeds. So we're going to watch about 3 minutes and 48 seconds. We're going to do a work exercise, and we're going to watch another 300 hours. Yeah, 3 minute 48 second closing, and then we will discuss it after that. So this is a rather simple concept. It's based on the idea that when we were functioning fully, this is prior to COVID, and we will come out of COVID at some point, each one of you represents 250 people that you influence. If you have a chapter of 12, take 12 times 250, and that's the potential number of people that you reach in some way, shape, or form every day. Every day or every week. What we are trying to do is engage the membership in helping do our marketing. If you're on a shoestring, you know how difficult it is. My first 2 years as the marketing VP of Harmony Kings, my budget for the year was $500, which meant I had to pick what I was going to do. This year I'll do singing Valentine's, and next year I'm going to do our annual show. And it's not a lot. And my final year, I convinced the board to make it at least 1,000, so I had a little bit of money to do something with. But if you're on a real shoestring, you really need your members. So let's take a look at this PowerPoint slideshow, and here we go. Marketing your chapter for audience, members, or performance requires a full arsenal of outlets. You need a plan for your product, your price, and your place, which brings you to promotion. We often, inadvertently, leave members out of the equation in favor of advertising. It's important to have advertising, but it can be really costly. If you're marketing on a shoestring, then member engagement is essential. Your members create the word-of-mouth advertising that's so important. To be successful with your members, you need a unified message, or what I call a chapter vocabulary. In this presentation, we're going to concentrate on one element of marketing, your chapter's features and benefits. The feature and benefit concept has been around for a long time. It's taught in sales seminars and used to build corporate and individual elevator speeches. In the world of barbershop, it's easy to get bogged down in the minutia. We forget to look at the big picture. So take a moment and ask, why should we even spend time on our features and benefits? We are busy. Work is piling up. Well, the reason that we do it is because it's the beginning of building a chapter vocabulary that engages your members in the marketing process. It helps define your chapter, helps you figure out what sets your chapter apart, and aids in deciding how your chapter compares to other performance groups in your community. To begin the process, we need to recognize who we are and what we are. We need to understand our features and benefits. Then we add a pinch of passion to make the message that much more attractive. When these ingredients come together, you increase your success in finding new audience or in your efforts for recruiting, regaining, and retaining chapter members. The short definition of features and benefits is, features is what something has, and the benefit is what it does for my members or my audience. The Barbershop Harmony Society, Evergreen District, and your chapter have a huge array of features. The question is, what are the benefits and who receives them? Here's a brief example using a simple umbrella. You can see that the features include a real wood handle, waterproof material, and unbreakable design. That's what you'd expect. But when you add the benefits, blocking out harmful rays from the sun, and it keeps water out, we get a more complete picture. If you're just told the features, you might be prompted to say, so what? When your members talk about your chapter, do they tell a unified story? The task of discovering your feature and benefits is simple. Divide a piece of paper in half, label the left side feature and the right side benefit. Now think of all the features your chapter has. Choose one and write it down. Now think about the benefit that feature offers and write that down on the right side of the paper. Every feature needs a benefit. If you don't supply the benefit, you allow the listener to have a so what reaction. Never offer just a feature. Your message requires the benefit too. In this sample, your feature is we meet on Tuesday night, and the benefit is so I can sing in my church choir on Wednesday. You might decide that your feature is our shows always have a matinee, and your benefit is that senior citizens never miss their dinner. That's features and benefits in a nutshell. A feature is something your chapter has, and the benefit is what it does for your customer, either a member or audience. It's time to practice. Take a few minutes and select 3 of your chapter features and the benefit that they offer your members or your audience. So, any questions, comments, or observations before we go further? Okay, so I want to direct this a little bit. I want you to think, and I want you to write 2 or 3 of these. A benefit of your chapter, or excuse me, a feature of your chapter and the benefit, and I want you to direct the benefit to a potential new member. So you're going to say, this is about my chapter and it benefits you as a new member because, or how, which means, and I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to try and put together your thoughts. Don't worry about perfection at this point. I just want to make sure that you have the concept. So we'll start right now, and I'll check back with you in about 3 minutes. Okay, this is like going to school. How many have 3? Good. Overachievers. How many have at least 2? Okay. And Ron looks like he got a telephone call, so we'll hear from him in a minute. So what I'd like to do now is go around the room, and we can talk. We can talk about this as a group. But go around the room and have you read one, or actually, well, we can start with one. Maybe your second one will be a gem too. But just go around the room and see what you came up with, because every chapter is going to have something that unifies it, and every chapter is going to have something that's different. And so it's going to be interesting to see what you have. So we'll start with Richard and share one, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, one of our features I felt, at least for our course, was convenient rehearsals. We've actually trimmed them down a little bit from what they were for many, many years. They're 2 hours now instead of 2.5. And I think the benefit of that is for people, especially getting into it, doesn't take a lot of time out of your busy schedule. If you want more time, that also encourages more quartetting outside of the chorus. So that's what I got.
Anybody agree, disagree? What do you think? Do you think it's good?
I like that.
Okay, that's excellent. Now think of what happens if you get your entire chapter talking that same way. And I'm going to go into a couple of other things about marketing too. Let's go to Ron. Did you have a chance to write something down?
Yes, I did. We're only 9 or 10 members right now, but we have a core group of experienced barbershoppers that probably spans 150 years. I think the benefit to that is an increased learning experience for people that want to sing a cappella in barbershop style.
So you would say that your feature is that you have combined barbershop knowledge of a zillion years, and the benefit is it's a learning experience for you if you come in and join us.
Yes, it increases with that body of knowledge. It increases the ability to learn quickly.
Okay, I like that. That's good. Let's go to Laura.
Well, I have a couple of them. We meet early, 6 to 8:30, and that's because we have several people who drive 40 miles, and they're older women, and we want them to be able, in the winter especially, to get home earlier. So, and that hasn't been a hindrance for everybody showing up. We rehearse 6 to 8:30, but I like the 2-hour concept because I just like that. I think we'll get more people to come. We were averaging about 7 people every week. Also, we rehearsed at a senior center, which is in the very center of Treasure Valley. So it's a great opportunity for us to do performances because they advertise for us. We just sang at a women's tea, 150 women, and we got 2 women who have come to visit us. So that was great. They really like us there, and they want us to sing at luncheons and things like that. It's not paid, but who cares? You know, it's getting our name out there and showing who we are. So
I was in a chapter that was embarrassed about itself, and leadership would not allow us to go perform. And so we became a rehearsal group, which is really sad. So I think that's right. And I think that if you had your membership talking about the fact that we do these free performances, and it helps with our overall outreach or something like that, you have a feature and a benefit. And basically, I'm not expecting perfection. It's you got to put this together in sentence form after a point, but it's just the idea of getting the concept. Gregor, you're up next.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Yeah, I really like what people have said so far. For me, the number one draw of every barbershop group I've been in is the camaraderie, the culture that goes with it. And I don't think we sell that enough, because I think that sense of belonging, we're more than just song, right? That's the benefit. You get basically instant friends, because I'm a lonely guy. I don't have any friends. but
I have to say that survey after survey after survey talks about the fact that fellowship is like the number one reason for even doing barbershop to begin with. So.
And I keep reading the research about any volunteer organization. The reason people volunteer is the interest gets them to come out, but it's the fellowship and the camaraderie that makes them stay. So I think selling that is a great feature to show and for people to experience. And then the other one is I think Doug Gardner said this, but he picked it up from somewhere. Average singers making great harmony, right? That's what we are. We aren't fancy singers, but it's the style of music, the barbershop, that helps us sound really great together. And that's the ones. Other than that, it's low pressure, right? So if you're not comfortable, just come out, right? Experience it, right? And you'll see. I like what was it? Who had ever just spoke? Learn from experts. I was busy writing, so I wasn't paying attention to the name, right? So learning from the experts is amazing. That was you, right, Ron? So thanks. Anyway,
terrific. Karen, you're up, and then I'm going to tell a story about Ken Antonius. So go ahead.
Oh, great. Well, I think that, well, one I wrote down is that we regularly perform 2 to 3 times a month out in the community. We have a very good chorus manager that works very hard at contacting organizations, everything from singing the national anthem to singing at a retirement village, you name it, at a Veterans Day assembly or a Memorial Day event or whatever it is. And so the fact that that is our feature is that we perform 2 to 3 times a month. And the benefit is anybody that wants to sing usually enjoys performing. And so if they know that they're going to have that opportunity to perform that much within a year, I think that's a big draw. And the fact that we tend to really focus on veterans as much as possible and to recognize them and honor them is a huge privilege. And we have several veterans in our chorus too. And the style of music we sing, we do a lot of popular in my age group, like Happy Together and Love Potion Number 9 and Sweet Caroline, all these songs that the people sing, everyone sings along with them in the audience, and the patriotic ones as well. And we encourage that they sing along.
Ron.
So I think that this is a critical issue for my group. Karen, how has your recruitment benefited from increased community engagement?
Well, that's just kind of been the steady personality of the Harmony Kings, is to be a performing chorus. As I'll use the term that we use, sing out, because that's what keeps us going. And I think we're drawing people in through performances. People see us and they go, And we always announce when we rehearse and invite people. And the fact that we're women are invited means an entire family could join. Kids, parents, I mean, literally an entire family could join our chorus and come together. So I think that's a very important part of our personality as a chorus, is getting out in the community. And we aren't a top-notch chorus. If we compete, we don't score that high, but we sound good enough. We have enough people that are good in each section to pull it off and sound good.
I think this is a tremendous characteristic, and I'm so glad you brought it up, Karen. This is one thing I'm going to be bringing back with a loud exclamation point to my group. Thank
Good.
you.
Well, you need some, we have such strong leadership. Our course manager, Lanny, he gets paid nothing. He's not on staff, obviously. He makes so many phone calls, and he goes and visits the place first. And he talks with the people and makes sure where the performance space is. And then he calls me, and then he talks to the board. I mean, he deserves a medal, because if you don't have anybody that's willing to put in that kind of effort, it's hard. And he just does it because he loves it.
Greg, you have a comment in the chat?
Okay, this is from Gregor. Good point, Greg, about embarrassment. I've met different groups that want to wait until perfection rather than sing, engage. When people are seeing you having fun, they want to have fun too. It's a basic human need, I think, and I absolutely agree. There was a feature and benefit that one of the board members at large, but he was also a prior president of Harmony Kings. His name is Ken Antonius, always said, "We come for the singing, we stay for the cookies." And that is definitely a feature and a benefit. But here again, you can't, you've got to get out where people can hear you. If you are cloistered in your rehearsal space, that's all you're going to do. I can say this, what the heck. How many are familiar with Northwest Sound? Okay, Northwest Sound out of Bellevue. Top-notch international performers, all this kind of stuff. I visited them once when I was with Harmony Kings, and several people came up to me and said, "How come Harmony Kings is better known than we are?" And they don't sing as well. And my answer was, we sing the best we can, we have fun, but we don't have 2 shows and contests.
Mm-hmm.
We have multiple shows. The first year I was president, we did 37 performances in the first year. That was this Lanny that was just mentioned. He did that. Mm-hmm. He said, "How many times do we want to sing out?" And we said, we want to sing out an average of 2. And he got the gigs, and 80% of them were paid. Mm-hmm. So not only is going out and performing a big chunk of the outreach that Harmony Kings has, it's also income producing for them. And I will tell you, I would much rather earn money singing than doing scones in a scone wagon to try and raise money, or parking cars to try and raise money. I'd much rather be singing to do it. You guys are all on the right track. Karen.
Just to tag on to what you're saying, I fully agree with you. Also, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. When you expect that one show to draw in all the income for basically almost a year, and then you have to charge so much, and then you have to try to market and bring people in, and it's just so stressful on everybody, instead of having these sprinkled out performances through the whole year, and every single one of them is fun. Every one of them. I never have trouble getting people to come to them. Everyone sticks around afterwards. I encourage people to go out into the group and visit with the people when we finish. I always tell them that, go talk to them, and I see people holding someone's old vet's hand, telling them a story, or saying, "Oh, my dad was also in the such and such battalion," whatever. And I mean, I get chills talking about it.
Also, make sure that you have a complete literature available every time you go out and sing, and hand it to your quartets and ask your quartets to promote your chorus. Have a trifold, have a business card, but have them engage with people, because like I say, if we're just sitting in our rehearsal space, and wondering why nobody's coming to visit. And I have an awful story to talk about in a minute, but first we're going to finish up the, oh, yes, Laura.
I just want to say that we went to the Boise Chordsman, a group of us went to the Boise Chordsman show last week, and we all went to the Afterglow. And we were asked to sing. Now, we didn't have a full chorus. You know, we only had about 7 people, I think. And we got up and sang. And afterwards, one of the wives came up and said, I want to talk to you. I want to come and visit. So
you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, if you or your members are not talking about the success that you're having, then nobody will know about you, and you will be. And we need to stop being the best kept secret in our community. We need to have people recognize who we are, and we just never know where it's going to come from. Gregor wrote, "I like Karen's statement too. We're good enough. The average ear will find it difficult to hear the difference between an average chorus and a strong chorus in a performance. They notice the showmanship, the fun that goes with it more. How often do I hear an audience member say, I really like the Five Cannibals? Fake news, huh? Best even thought that they were, at best, they even thought they were mediocre. I'm okay, I didn't get the joke there, but that's okay."
Here's a question, Greg. How many people in a quartet?
Oh, yes, I've had that. Yes, I have. I want to go to the last half, and I'm going to have to click forward on this, but I want to go to the last half of the PowerPoint. Listen particularly for why you don't want to just give a feature. Listen to why you need to give both feature and benefit. Now that you've finished your features and benefits for your chapter, let's zoom in on some of the reasons to include them. When your chapter agrees on their best features and benefits, you want to put it to use as soon as possible. You don't need everyone saying the same thing robotically, but you want all your members to speak of the chapter in the same terms, a unified message. As you were going through the exercise, you probably realized that some features only become benefits with use, or to put it another way, the benefit is not realized until you use the feature. This is another example of why your messaging requires both feature and benefit. You're working with an equation, and both sides of the equation must be included. As an example of just offering a feature, a job applicant might say, I'm a people person, as their feature. And the interviewer might think, oh, this person is a busybody and won't get any work done on time. If, on the other hand, the applicant said, I'm a people person, and when I complete a project on time, I'm happy to help my coworkers with their projects. It is important to share the whole story. The feature and benefit concept leads your chapter to both written and verbal communication. Verbal communication is where your members help with your word-of-mouth advertising. The University of Washington conducted a study to determine the effects of communication both verbally and auditorily, and Paul Harvey shared that research.
Elizabeth Loftus, psychologist, University of Washington, from controlled laboratory studies has concluded that among the human senses, the ear is more significant than the eye. Individual with loss of sight, tested alongside subjects with loss of hearing, presented with a list of words visually and auditorily, and the words were remembered best by individuals who could hear the words rather than by those who could see them. In this respect, yes, she says, the ear is superior to the eye. When the eye takes in some picture or visual information, the image registers in iconic memory for 1 second, maybe 2. When the ear takes in the information, it fades away much more slowly, 4 to 5 seconds. A parallel study at Northwestern University compared television and radio. It concluded that if you deliver a verbal message about your shampoo, people are much more persuaded than if you give them only a picture of your product. And significant to us in advertising, people are much more persuaded to buy as a result of a verbal message. Marketing strategist Jack Trout says advertisers now spend 55% of their dollars on eye media and 45% on ear media, and he suggests they're doing it backward. Confucius is said to have said one picture is worth 1,000 words. And yet it's interesting, isn't it? What we remember about Confucius is not what he looked like, but what he said. Page 3.
For your messaging to be effective, you need to be concise, condensed, compelling, and consistent. When it comes to using your features and benefits, the sky is the limit. Use it in your verbal communication, on your answering machine, on your letterhead, part of your email signature, and wherever your imagination takes you. Any comments? Did it make sense?
I like Greg, what you hear, because I think what happens is when you hear it, you start thinking about it more and you start to reflect on it. The C is the splash to maybe draw your attention to it, but then the hearing actually complements it. The 1,000-word picture, I think that's very useful when you have a very complex message that you want somebody to continue to come back to, like a piece of art or something, right? Or a poem. Right? It's the same idea that you can capture more in a poem than you can by writing an essay, because you're trying to go beyond the words, and that's where to get people to experience barbershop is the same thing, right? You can talk about it, you can hear it, but until they experience it or even sing with it, that's even a better experience. That's what really hooks them.
Right, and that's what this is really all about. It's engaging the entire membership in what you're doing to invite people in to experience it. And not everybody is a singer, but the idea of oral, we're in an oral communication activity. We are communicating orally, musically. We have rhythm and rhyme, and we have lyrics, and it's all about that. But if you don't go out and engage those people that are around you, you can't do it. But you all need to have an understanding. Your entire membership needs to have an understanding of what your chapter is all about, and there's got to be some agreement. Karen, did you have a comment? I saw your hand up.
Yeah, that's okay. This made me think of my ultimate goal with each of our performances. Is we usually close with, we sing the Arm Formerly and have everyone in the audience that has served or has a relative that has served either stand up and salute, sing with us, whatever, and we acknowledge all the different branches of the armed forces. And then we do America the Beautiful, God Bless America medley. And I always encourage them to sing, and you should see how emotional that is for all of us. I mean, most of us are crying by the end, but to see these people who haven't sung America the Beautiful for decades probably, and they remember it from their childhood because they have that memory, just like you're talking about, that you wouldn't necessarily picture the music or picture your classroom in third grade singing it, but you remember how it felt to sing that. And now they have this experience of living in this country for this many decades. And then we close with Proud to be an American. And I can't even put in words how emotional that is for the audience and us. So that's always our goal as a chorus, is to bring us together after we've done all our playful songs early on in the program. That's how we conclude. And it's just really an experience that I love, and I love spreading that around.
So I think you guys, you can see this. Now let me talk a little bit about not having your membership involved. When Puyallup Valley Harmonizers attempted to rise from the ashes of Rainier Valley Harmonizers, and we had rebuilt ourselves up to about 12 people, and we wanted new members. I was the vice president of membership, and they asked me to put together a guest night. So I built this elaborate plans. I was working at the time. I had some extra money. I gave money to make sure that we had lots of treats, and took some money from the chapter, and we published a trifold to hand out, and we did all this kind of stuff. And I spent a fair amount of money doing, a fair amount of money doing this, and had it all arranged, and had, the the chapter was all going to learn a new song, plus the guests were going to learn a song. And we were going to get them up on the risers with us and all this kind of stuff. And the night rolled along, and I came in with my guest. That was the only guest of the evening. I made the mistake of assuming that the chapter was behind me, and I didn't take the time to make sure they were. And we promoted the thing and all that kind of stuff. Literally, the largest members of Puyallup Valley Harmonizers were former Rainier Valley Harmonizers. And they were embarrassed that they weren't singing at the same level. So rather than embrace that they were a brand new chapter trying to do a brand new thing, they never got over the concept that they weren't Rainier Valley Harmonizers anymore. And it was really sad. The chapter disintegrated. The chapter left the fiduciary group, which is the president, treasurer, and secretary, with a $2,500 bill. They had to negotiate their way out of $2,500. I had left the chapter by that particular point, but I know what it's like when they're not behind you. Now, in the annals of networking, I don't know if any of you have been networkers, but statistically, each one of us represents 250 people that we influence in some way, shape, or form. And as I said earlier, if you have 10 people in your group, they're all influencing 250. If you have 30, they're all, so just do the multiplication. Now that doesn't mean that everybody is gonna jump up and say, yeah, I wanna be this. But if you don't plant enough seeds, you don't get enough crop. And as I said, Puyallup Valley Harmonizers had 47 guests in the course of a year because we made every Tuesday night guest night. And we provided them with the same rehearsal that they would get if they became members. It wasn't a special rehearsal to draw them in. It was a regular rehearsal. But we didn't get anybody that wanted to stick around and stay. And that means there was a disconnect with the membership during the rehearsal, and they were not necessarily telling the same story. Where I first became interested in a chapter vocabulary occurred with Puyallup Valley Harmonizers. We went to sing Christmas songs at the mall, and someone came up to us and said, "You guys were great. Who are you?" And the president of the chapter said, "We're Rainier Valley Harmonizers." We hadn't been Rainier Valley Harmonizers for 3 years at that point. So whatever it takes. Now, we're talking features and benefits, and very simply, if you got together a handful of people and you all agreed on a feature that you think is unique to you and you want to present that, and you offer the benefit that comes from doing that, you're going to start building a chapter vocabulary. So you don't have a question of who we are. If I know that I'm attending a meeting of a chapter who wants national and international recognition, I should know that. And I should know why it's important to me. If it's a chapter that does community sing-outs, they're not maybe the best singers, but they have the most fun. I want to know that so that I know what I'm getting into. If we are a chorus that is rebuilding, and the reason that we're rebuilding is because we want to serve our community better, and we are going to choose a chapter or choose a charity to honor and be involved in and help raise money for and serve in some particular way, I need to know that. And I need to know what the benefit is of doing that. And it's really up to the leadership. We have a lot of, and I'm lecturing now, we have a lot of been there, done that people, and we really need to go, why? One other thing, then two other things. Then we're going to wrap it up and answer whatever questions you have. One is that your literature, your website, and all that kind of stuff should mirror what your chorus says about itself. We had at Harmony Kings, we had a website that was designed to produce new members. And I was dumb and brand new. I 5 minutes after I joined, I found I was the vice president of marketing. And I asked people if they had gotten any members from the website. And the answer was, well, no, not really. So I said, then why are we keeping this website this way? So I changed the website. I got some help. I wasn't a webmaster, but I got some help from Sue Middleton from Jet Cities in Federal Way. And she helped me find a template-based website that we put together. And we changed the whole thing, not for members. We changed it for all the places that we sang. We had our message right there on the website as to our vision statement. And we asked our people to go to it frequently. And we started telling the story about where we sang and why we sang and what we did and our annual shows. And lo and behold, we started getting people showing up as guests because this chapter looked like it was doing something. It wasn't a sales pitch to become a member. It was a sales pitch for the chorus. And as the chorus got out and people saw it, and I was always amazed when somebody came in and said, how'd you find out about us? And the answer was, I saw your website. Oh, holy moly, the thing works. That is really, really powerful stuff. Gregor is going, copyright question. Are we allowed to post YouTube videos that we created as a course on our website? Yes. If you're not violating a YouTube copyright issue, and it will check it and see if you are. If you're not, yes, you can go ahead and do that. Your website should refer back. You should have links from YouTube back to your website. You should have links from the website back to YouTube, whatever you do. The other thing that I would suggest is Harmony College Northwest.
If you could scroll back just a little bit, please, Greg. Gregor put two attachments as well as an explanation of those.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this is kind of a new thing, if you don't mind. I need to put a plug in here because I'm so excited.
Go ahead.
I love doing the Harmony platoons. And if you haven't done one yet, you need to do it at the next division or district event that you have an opportunity to do it, or internationally. But I also love afterglows because they really show what the more global barbershop culture is really all about. It shows you about polecatting, pickup quartetting, all that kind of fun stuff that really makes the culture of barbershop come alive. And so, so I thought it would be kind of fun to do that. So we usually have a multi-chorus social once a year where all of the male and female SAI and BHS barbershop groups from Calgary come together for a dinner, and then your chorus and quartets get to perform over the course of the evening. But I thought, wouldn't it be kind of fun to do a barbershop harmony cabaret where you take the afterglow experience and you take a few 3 songs and shorten them down to under 2 minutes and make it into a kind of a mini harmony platoon as well. And so that becomes the kind of featured activity during this afterglow, and then put it in the middle of an afternoon so that we live in Alberta, so Edmonton is about 3-hour drive away. So the barbershop groups anywhere from Edmonton to Calgary, unfortunately that's the range of where we exist, can come and join for this event. So I just created these 2 little bookmarks that we're giving out today at our division event. But if you want more interesting, I'm happy to send you some interest on that or let you know how it goes. But I thought I'd just put a little promo in there as another kind of activity to have people experience barbershop. One of the marketing things I haven't yet introduced to the chorus guys that are supporting this is the fact that we can take, you know what, we have 160 tickets available. We can have space for about 40 competitors in that group. But perhaps there may be some potential members that you say, you know what, this guy's kind of talked to him a few times. Why don't we comp them a few tickets, right? So out of that 160 tickets, you might have 10 tickets that you give away to potential music educators or people who might have a big influence on helping promote the barbershop in the future that aren't quite barbershoppers yet. And then they actually experience the culture that goes with it.
Is a great idea. And I'm going to hold you to something, Gregor. I want you to write that up after it's over and send it to me, and we'll include it on the marketing page.
Okay.
Because it can't be just my ideas. I do want to mention Harmony College Northwest. There are I think there's 4 courses, and I will send you an email with an attachment. But there's 4 choruses that kind of piggyback onto what I'm talking about. And one is on Saturday, June 17th at 9 o'clock in the morning. And can't remember who's teaching it, but it's called Grow Your Audience. And it's talking about growing it. Let me see if I can find my document here so I can read it to you. If it opens, we're going to be good. Hello. Okay, Saturday, June 11th, 9 a.m. to 10:15, Grow Your Audience with Chris Rimple.
Mm.
And he will also be addressing some SEO and SEM things in terms of your email and your social media, so on and so forth. Saturday, June 18th, from 9 to 10:15, David Dobson is doing how to make a great newsletter. So if you need communication ideas within your organization, this would be a great class. David does the district stuff. And then from 10:30 a.m. to 11:45 a.m., Amy Rose is doing Social Media 101. It's going to be okay. And she will be talking about the different social medias and the experiences like that. So I want to leave a plug for Harmony College Northwest, because a lot of that will overlap and piggyback onto what I've done. I want to tell you one thing that I think is really important, and that is in regards to marketing VPs. I have an extensive background in radio broadcasting, both in selling advertising and being a disc jockey, and selling advertising at the same time. I used to record my show from 10 until 2, and then from 10 until 2, I was out talking to people about buying advertising. But that's my lean, and that's my basis. There are others that come into it and they become the marketing person because they know SEO. Or they know social media, so on and so forth. So they will have a lean that way. So I am a generalist, and I'm actually much more fluent in one-on-one communication and meeting people that way. But my comment about social media is don't take on more than you can update. We had at Harmony Kings, we had a website, we had YouTube, we had Facebook, and I was doing a lot of, now Karen's doing the updating, but I was doing a lot of updating in those 3 medias. And someone came to me from the group and said, should we have Twitter? And I said, that'd be great. You're going to take care of the content, right? And, well, no. So the internet is driven by content. If you're not able to update your comments and update your content a lot, just take on what you have the manpower to do. Another message. I think this is the second time that Gregor's mentioned this. Random Acts of Harmony logo. It would be nice to be able to abscond with this logo and use it district-wide to become more recognizable. That I have to talk to my boss about. And Brass has 2 sing-outs coming up for Father's Day event with lots of wandering around and this might be very helpful. Yeah. My quartet, which has only rehearsed twice this year, is going out busking. And we're going to the Puyallup Farmers Market today at noon. And we're going to sing for a couple of hours, try and raise a little bit of money, but we're raising awareness for barbershop and for an upcoming Tacoma Vocal Standard meeting. But this is just another thing that your chapters can do to get out there and be in front of people. Any last comments? It is 11:43 and I want to wrap it up, and I see Karen's hand up.
Greg, I'd like to invite your quartet to sing at our friends and family event. We decided instead of trying to have a performance outside of our rehearsal night at this point, because it's hard to get a space and pay for it. So this will be our second one. And it's right during rehearsal, Tuesday, June 14th. And we already have 3 other guest quartets singing, and the chorus is going to sing some songs that we didn't sing on our performance in, because we sang in April, I believe it was, or March. And friends and family, we don't charge anything. Anybody can come. It's just at the church. We're not paying for the facility because we're already there. So,
Guess what? We've been talking about it, and I talked to one of your members about it too. So we're considering it, and we're talking about it today. So thank you for the official invitation. I appreciate that. Ron.
Yeah, that's just another way to get the public aware of us we aren't spending any money to do this, but we're bringing people in. We had about 45 people attend our last time that we did it. This will be our second one.
Okay, Ron.
Do you mind if I distribute the recording to my board and some of my members?
No, not at all.
Okay, thanks.
Not at all. I will be sending you, a document for Harmony College Northwest to keep that foreground, because you may not be able to attend, but maybe somebody else can. And it's virtual this year, and it's not super expensive, so you don't have to pay for staying overnight at UPS. And I will also be sending you, as soon as the link is processed, I will be sending you the link so that you can review this. And this time you'll have the link and the chat on the side if you want to review what was said on the chat. So I appreciate that. With that, I'm going to ask that we stop the recording, and you're free to move about the cabin.